Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and Wednesday has arrived again, and with it a new episode of Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, with me, Herbert Erpaderp. And you might be relieved to learn that this week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp features no text-to-speech. I appreciate all the get well soon comments you guys sent me last week, and I'm feeling a lot better this week. It's still gross and hot, but at least I don't feel like I'm dying anymore. Background video is again World of Tanks. First, a fairly good game I had in my Hetzer. After Monday's Hetzer video, I felt like getting out there and hetzing, and this was the best game I had of the night. A moderately amusing moments video featuring the Hetzer will be uploaded on Friday, though it will be online early for patrons today. I'll probably follow this hetzing with a couple of battles in my IS-2 Berlin version. I've really been enjoying that tank. I would have had some War Thunder gameplay as a background too. I played a few games of that last night, but it turns out I'm a dunce and didn't realise OBS wasn't recording properly, and all I got was some audio and a black video. I did of course fix that. If you want to record War Thunder with OBS, you need to run OBS as administrator or it just won't work. I guess I could play it again just to get some background footage, but I just didn't feel like it, and probably won't until after I've finished working on this video. That might be enough rambling on that topic. Let's get to some questions and comments. Toa Duncanuva says, "Greetings Herbert, you have a pink panther, I have a black panther and a purple tiger and a purple Bismarck, because why not? Also, have you ever considered doing a cameo from an anime, such as Arpeggio of Blue Steel, Girls und Panzer, Zoids, etc.? Why not is all the reason anyone needs to paint things whatever colour they want. A purple Bismarck sounds awesome, and I'd like to see pictures if you are willing to share." I'm not sure what you mean by a cameo. If I could do a cameo on those shows as a voice, hell yeah, I'd do that, but I think what you mean is painting models related to those shows. I have considered doing some Girls und Panzer models. I'd like to do a Churchill and maybe some Matildas with the teapot and teacup emblem from whatever the school with the British tanks in that show is called. Otherwise, I'm not really into anime and am unfamiliar with the other shows you mentioned. I did Google Arpeggio of Blue Steel because I wasn't sure if you made a typo and meant arpeggio like the broken chord in music, or if Arpeggio was a name or something. It turns out that's the anime where the girls are also warships, which could be interesting at least, and I might watch it one day. I find it really hard to get into anime though, and I rarely ever feel like just sitting down to watch something, anime or not. It sounds like a kind of pretentious thing to say, but I prefer to spend my time making things than just watching stuff. That said, I guess I could always watch it while playing games or something one day. Adam Wildman says, "What is your favourite tank?" I get this question a lot. I guess it's not a bad question to ask somebody that likes tanks. I usually give a similar answer every time I get this question. Something like, I'm far too indecisive to have one favourite tank. I really like the Tiger, Cromwell, KV-2 and T-34-85, but there are so many cool tanks out there, and I've never been the sort of person that likes to pick one absolute best or favourite. It seems restrictive. I would say, at the moment, my favourite tank in World of Tanks is actually the IS-2 Berlin. I don't have a regular IS-2. It's a lot of fun to play, and somehow I consistently do fairly well in it. I've also been enjoying Hetzers lately. Mr. Elite Zealot says, "Wow, that voice makes you sound so buff and manly." I assume you mean the female text-to-speech voice. I guess my voice does get lower and a bit more gravelly when I'm not well. The downside is that it hurts to talk. I can always talk in a lower, more gravelly voice if I want to, but it takes more effort, and it isn't really comfortable to keep up for long periods of time. Gustav 2 Adolf says, "Get better soon, Herbert. The text-to-speech voice is moderately amusing for a while, but it does get tedious to listen to after a while. If you have to use it again some other time, at times its speed could be increased. I feel as though I'm listening to a schoolgirl practicing her lines for a 4th grade Shakespeare play in a language foreign to her. The lyrics thing was great though." I agree. I could have put a bit more work into it and edited the text-to-speech to sound a bit more natural and maybe a bit quicker, but I wanted to sleep instead. And getting it to sound like good, natural speech would be more effort than just recording it myself. It's not so bad for short sentences, but if you have a paragraph or more for it to read, it's just not great. Top Bunk Productions also said to get well soon and says, "As for the text-to-speech, I can understand why you used it here when feeling ill, though I prefer it when you read out the questions. Also, sorry for not commenting so much recently, I've been kind of busy recently." He also adds, "Also, your ill voice kind of sounds like you in your oldest videos. I too think it sounds better when I read out the questions. Text-to-speech is a really handy tool to have if I need it though. I kind of wish I had the male one, then I could make dank meme videos too. I probably wouldn't anyway, and I'm sure it could be downloaded, but I don't care that much. It's totally fine if you're too busy for commenting a lot, life happens. Watching internet videos and commenting on them and such has to take a back seat sometimes. I do appreciate it when people take the time to comment of course, but it's not expected, and I don't want people to feel like they're obliged to make comments or anything like that. Also, I guess my sick voice does kind of sound like my old videos. The crappy headset mic I used to use got a little more bassy sound and the speakers were quite trebly, so I'd increase the bass further so it would sound more like what I hear in my head. Over time I've got better equipment and learned to make my audio sound better with EQing and such, or at least what I think sounds better. Rato Poika, I feel like that should be with a rolled R. Rato Poika. I'm easily amused. Rato Poika says, "So sad it's really hot where you are. Here in Finland it's minus 21 Celsius outside, and the Meteorological Institute's weather forecast says minus 31 for the day after tomorrow. I have to check fluids in my car so they don't freeze. Them freezing would be sad. I would love to go outside and use spray to undercoat my US African Flames of War army, but it cannot be done in this cold weather. Haven't tried surface primer for resin and metal miniatures before. I hope airbrushing it turns out. Just need some super varnishing afterwards. Have you painted miniatures other than historical ones?" I'm not sure if that's some sarcasm there. Either way, extremes of temperature at both ends of the scale really suck. I guess it could always be a lot hotter here, but when it's over 35 degrees outside, it gets disgustingly hot when I close myself into a room to record. Personally, I would rather cold weather because it's easy to put on more layers or start a fire, but when it's hot, after a certain point you can only remove so many layers without removing your skin, which I don't think would really assist in cooling all that much. I never thought about the fluids in cars freezing though, which sounds really awful, and I have no idea how you would even fix that. With fire, I guess? Anyway, I have painted non-historical miniatures, mostly Tau for 40k. I've also painted some War Machine stuff and I definitely plan to paint more. I've been meaning to start painting my Malifaux stuff lately too, and eventually I will. And I've also been painting model railway wagons, though maybe those count as historical. Martin Strickfus says, "Herbert, sounds like you need a big mug of man up. Hope you feel better soon. Been ill myself since before Christmas. Grrr. I think you should get a 1/350th scale ship. Hood, King George V, or at least that's what I think KGV stands for, or Bismarck. I think you would do a bang up job on this. Finally, have you considered getting the new Blood Bowl?" I don't know, I think I manned up enough. It would have been a lot easier just to do no video at all. I hope you are feeling better yourself. Christmas was a while ago now, so I do hope you're feeling better. Your suggestion has given me a good idea. I could get both the Hood and Bismarck in the same scale. After all, it was the Bismarck that sank the Hood, I think. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. If I want to get crazy, I could probably even try and model the Hood exploding. That might be going a bit too far, but it's a cool idea. It would be impractical to make a diorama of them fighting at realistic ranges, but I could put them next to each other. They could glance at each other menacingly. It would be cool. I think that's a good idea. I did look at the new Blood Bowl set. I'm not into sports, but I actually do like the concept of that game. It's something different. That said, I probably won't get it because it's $165 and I'll likely not ever play it. I'd rather spend that kind of money on things that I'm excited about, like more tanks. The new plastic tigers from Battlefront, for example. The other day, I uploaded my second Cities Skylines video chronicling my adventures in managing a city. The following comments were on that video. British Modeler said, "I have been waiting for this video since you uploaded the last Derptopia vid. Gimas, Briada, said, "Me too. Kind of disappointed when I saw it's only 8 minutes, but still a new Derptopia episode." I'm really glad you guys like those videos. The good news is I've already done a rough edit of the 3rd episode. It'll probably be ready next week. The bad news is it's also going to be a little bit short, but I suppose I could try to make them a bit longer in the future. The way I edit them, I've been trying to cut out unnecessary and boring bits while still kind of telling the story of what I've been doing, if that makes sense. There's a lot of stretches of me just being silent or singing really badly when I play this game, which I don't think are especially interesting or funny, so I cut them out. But if you guys think longer is better, then I'll certainly try to keep that in mind. Gustav 2 Adolf says, I laughed during every second of this video. Keep the Derptopia videos coming. I shall do. I think I'll play some more tonight. I should be able to generate enough video for at least a 4th episode. Alex Trenchard has also been enjoying the series and says, just FYI, with your money troubles, I'm assuming you've found the loans. Good for funding a short-term fix. Fire, health, cemetery, which can then be paid back over time. I have indeed found the loans. To be honest, I can't remember if I actually took out a loan or not during the time I played the game already, but if I didn't, I'd certainly considered it. I know it's just a game, but I'm the sort of person that hates borrowing money in real life, and for that reason I'm also a bit hesitant about borrowing money in games too. That's probably silly. It's good that it's there though, and I probably will use it one day. It could save my city from excess corpse pileup or extreme sewerage flooding or something crazy like that. On Friday, I uploaded a World of Tanks video about the Panther and the following comments were on that video. Rubsalot says, and thus, get Panthdon you shit, entered the lexicon of war. I chuckled like an idiot when I heard myself say that during editing. I had totally forgotten I was saying things like that. I think maybe I was a little bit loopy because of the heat and being sick. Also, you don't need to censor swearing. It's okay to swear here. Or at least I assume it is. YouTube probably won't mind. Fuck fuckity cunting shit. Gustav 2 Adolf says, great video as always, but STRV? It's called Stridsvagen, you layman. I dare you to try pronouncing the Swedish word for tank. Imagine the word stretch, but with a short I instead of an E, like in victory. The tsh part should be a short, silent th, like in the. Wagen is pronounced like wagon, but without the O and a normal V. Victory, an S in between. Stridsvagen. I already knew that, mostly because there's been a few videos about Stridsvagens and the Kranvagen out with the new Swedish tanks in World of Tanks. When it pops up on the screen I see STRV, so that's what I say. I know what it is, but my brain just says STRV. It's kind of like KV series tanks. You don't read out Kliment Voroshilov every time you see a KV tank, but that's what it's called. Maybe it's not quite the same thing. At least it's better than calling it a Sturv. Maybe. That is kind of amusing though. Maybe I'll call them Sturvs from now on. Top Bunk Productions says, there's a lesson to be learned here, Herbert. Panthers are cool. This is true, and it's a very easy lesson to learn. The following comments are from Monday's modelling video featuring the excellent Rubicon Hetzer. Mr. Elite Zealot says, yes. Hetzer gonna Hetz. Exactly. If there's a Hetzer nearby, you can absolutely count on the fact that hetzing will happen. Boar Harms says, that's an awesome little Hetzer. Rubicon have made a really nice kit. Good detail, not too much gaps, nice options. You can even make a post-war G13 tank destroyer, etc. It looks a lot better than the resin one. By the way, did you know the machine gun on top of the tank could be remotely controlled by the crew inside? I think that's a really cool feature of the Hetzer. As for painting it, I think a nice ambush camouflage would look quite nice. You know, the camo with all the tiny dots. Rubsalot also wants to see ambush camo, though a funky one. I'm not entirely sure how to make ambush camo funky. Maybe instead of tiny dots it would be tiny stars and glitter, or something like that. Ambush camo is most likely what I'll be going with when I do paint this. Maybe a funky version, maybe not. I totally forgot to mention the possibility of representing a G13 with this kit, but you totally could, it's pretty much the same thing. And I did know that the MG on the Hetzer was remote controlled, and I think that's pretty cool too. Though I have heard it came with its own problems. Apparently that MG had a lower capacity magazine than tanks would usually have, and the vision was a little bit limited, which does make sense. But it did cut down on people being killed while manning machine guns. Panzerman's Bunker says, nicely built Hetzer, pretty good detail for a wargame model. Too bad no tank crewmen are provided. Myself, I don't usually use the crew figures most tank kits provide, but I do agree, it would be nice if at least one crew figure was supplied. I vaguely recall seeing something about Rubicon including crew on some kits, so maybe that's something coming in the future. Otherwise, I guess it's common for people to just use crew figures from Warlord or other companies. Khalid Fadlan H says, the jacking block on Hetzer and other light tanks are more thinner than those on the bigger tanks. I suppose that would make sense. A lighter vehicle means the jacking block needs to withstand less pressure, so they could get away with using less material in it. Was wood scarce in Germany? I don't know, but not using more material than you have to is usually a good idea. Matthias Kellerman says, Warlord have indeed remade their Hetzer. The rebuild has a one-piece hull and track assembly, and is far superior to the aged, warped and inaccurate original. Personally, I would still opt for the Rubicon offering, but Warlord's offering is no longer a dog. That's good to hear. I'm not the biggest fan of resin models, I much prefer plastic, but I don't want them to be awful pieces of garbage if it can be avoided. I would certainly hope experiences like mine with the very old model are rare now, but it's probably a good idea for anyone buying the metal and resin Hetzer to ask the seller, if it's not Warlord themselves, if it's the newer version. Top Bunk Productions says, attach the spare wheel/track set to a small miniature house or shed, and then have a gun, also from spares, sticking out one of the windows. Just imagine it, the house tank. As for the colour, I would suggest a snowy winter white, that or an edgy black and red. That's actually a kind of fun idea. I was just thinking of attaching them to a truck or something, along the lines of the Battle Beetle, but a battle house is a great idea too. I'm not saying I will actually do it, but it's fun to think about. I might do it. Maybe. I could paint the Hetzer white. A winter whitewash could be fun, and it's something I've not yet tried, but I am interested in giving it a go. Ikiru Dan Nito says, pink. Paint it pink to go with the Panther. You know, it's actually tempting. I could do an entire army in pink, infantry and all, though I think I would like to see it in an ambush scheme. I'd also like to try some vaguely historical colours on the infantry too, so maybe I will paint some pink, but probably not all of them. Jacob says, do you consider doing a full build video, like building the full tank, then painting it in one video? If so, that will be nice. YouTube hero That's not a word. Anyway, YouTube Hero says, that would make his upload rate really bad. And that's pretty much my answer. I mean, I will do it if the build for the model is quick and I want to paint it right away, so it is something I will do every now and then. I did it with the GHQ T3485s because there was pretty much nothing to the build. It takes me a long time to paint things, both because I don't feel like painting all the time and I'm just a slow painter. Then there's the time it takes to edit the video. It's not something I could realistically keep up every week. Well, I probably actually could, but it would pretty much be a full-time job, and I can't justify doing a full-time job without also being paid a reasonable rate for full-time work. I do like putting up a modelling video every week. It's been really helpful for me to have a goal that needs to be achieved every week, and it's easy enough to do. I really enjoy building models, and it takes a lot less time than actually painting them. I would almost certainly stop enjoying painting if I added the stress of having to get something finished every week, and I don't really want that. I like having a hobby that I enjoy. I guess that's a lot of rambling to say, I'll do it when I can, but it's never going to be a regular thing. The Agile Aardvark says, now I want to build one too, but there are so many other tanks, Space Marines, Tau, Cyrus Warjacks, helicopters and even a Dalek waiting to be finished. I think I need more drying space. Just start things, put it in the drying space and tell myself I can't work on those now, the paint is still not dry. Lies, lies, filthy white lies. Good Hetzer. I guess that's a pretty common thing for modelers. There are so many cool things to work on, and a lot of us have piles of awesome models waiting to be built. But there's only so much time and attention span available. We all do our own little mental gymnastics to justify not finishing things or starting new projects while we've already got 20 other things going on. But it's okay to skip around between projects. It is a hobby after all, so you should be doing what you enjoy the most. If you're halfway through building one tank and get the urge to paint a Dalek, then why not? Enjoy it. At least that's what I think. Dat123 says, please do a Czech version of paint. I wasn't sure what the Czech paint for a Hetzer would look like, so I googled it. This is one of the images that came up, and I thought it was interesting. The main gun is missing and there's a machine gun in its place, which is interesting in itself, but SMRT painted on the side really made me laugh. It reminds me of the old episode of The Simpsons where Homer says, I am so smart, I am so smart, SMRT. I guess it's extra amusing to me because my best friend and I use SMRT when we're being sarcastic about how smart we are, after doing something silly, of course. Either way, I am easily amused. I guess I got a little bit sidetracked there. I'm still not entirely sure what a Czech Hetzer should look like. I will do further research. I don't have a Czech force for bolt action, but why not paint one anyway? It could be interesting. Marek says, let's paint this Hetzer in Hetzer. I found this amusing. I was really tempted to Photoshop a Hetzer covered in smaller Hetzers, but I'm lazy. It's something I'd like to see though, so if someone's bored and wants to play around with Photoshop, I will probably be amused by the results. Gustav 2 Adolf says, having little knowledge of the Hetzer, I don't know if my suggestion is historically accurate, but this paint job is interesting. You should check it out. I see what you did there. That is pretty cool, and I've seen very similar camos in World of Tanks, and I like it. And I think it might be fun to try. You probably won't be surprised to learn that I also have no idea if it's historically accurate or not, but that's really not something that bothers me, obviously. It does look cool, and that's what counts. If not the Hetzer, I would like to try painting something in that camo scheme. Art Nichols says, you should come to the US so we can play bolt action together. That sounds like an awfully expensive day out. But yeah, if I do find myself there one day, it will be fun to meet new people and play some bolt action. It's not likely that I'll be visiting the US anytime soon, but never say never. And finally, on an older video, Gustav 2 Adolf says, where do you get that spinning plate that you always use to show off your models? Or if you built it yourself, what did you use? I don't think I have the skill to make something like that, at least not a motorized one. It's something I found on eBay, and I think they're meant for jewellery. If you're looking for one, try searching something like motorized display stand. I obviously got it a long time ago, so I don't really remember, but I don't think it cost very much. You can get battery and solar powered ones, but I made sure to get one with an AC adapter, because replacing batteries is a pain in the dick. I had tried using a cheap, rotating cake decorating thing. I'm sure those have an actual name, but I don't know what it is. But it was really hard to spin at a consistent speed, so a motorized option was better. And that's it for this week. This is getting quite long. If you have any questions you would like answered in next week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, be sure to put them in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to do all the YouTubey things like liking and subscribing if you haven't already. And if you really like the videos I make, please consider helping to support the channel via Patreon. Patrons get to see my videos a little early, along with some bonus patron-only content. If you want to check that out, there's a link in the description and on screen now. As always, I shall return soon, so until then, happy whatever it is you're doing, and thanks for watching. Farewell.